Hi, welcome to Keep Talkin'. My name is Kristin Marand, and with me today is Jen Shultz. Thanks for being here, Jen.
Thanks for having me.
So, Jen, you're a conceptual fine art photographer.
Yes.
You started in roughly 2007. Mm-hmm. So tell me about how you got into photography. Did you have any formal training, any fine art background?
No, I had no formal training. It started out with a high school class, in which I fell in love with photography. I could not stop.
Sucks you in.
It did. I actually ended up making my own secondary class afterward.
Okay.
I didn't want to take any of the electives, so I went to my teacher and went, I don't like any of these classes. Can I do photography again? So they let me.
Okay, very cool.
Yep.
So it seems like everyone today that can afford a nice camera is like, oh, yeah, I'm definitely a photographer. What sets you and your work apart?
Well, I think what would set my work apart personally is that it's just my personal style. As most photographers can tell you, everybody has their own fingerprint. You'll be looking through your Facebook feed as a photographer and go, oh yeah, that's so-and-so's work, that's so-and-so's work. And you can pick them out without seeing who they came from. And so that would be what I think is my personal style. The great thing about cameras becoming more affordable is that more people who couldn't have afforded it before are able to get into it, and it's allowed for so many creative people to come into the field and produce work like in the same themes that I do. So you even have people in Winnipeg like Stardust or Eternal Mind who are making amazing photographs that are conceptual, surreal, and it's so much fun.
So you talked about the affordability, and I think that's a really neat aspect of what you did. You did something called the Downgraded Series. What was kind of the philosophy behind that?
Well, back last year, I have this very, very nice camera. It was expensive. I spent way too much money on it and shouldn't have. But this was before I knew what I knew now. And basically what happened last year is I broke my 50 millimeter lens, which is the only lens I can use on that camera.
Okay.
So I decided to start the Get Downgraded series because I think the problem that people have is they get into a rut and they blame it on their equipment. But it doesn't matter what equipment you have, it's how you use it.
So you downgraded to a lesser camera?
Yeah, my first camera, actually.
Okay.
It was a 2009 Rebel XS. So it was a much older model than what you can find now. And definitely the stats on it aren't as good. So I used that camera to create images like probably the first one that came on the slideshow here. And I was creating the same quality of work that I was creating with my my fancier camera. So, you can't let that stop you. Whatever equipment you have, you can still learn, you can still grow, you can still make creative, amazing images. And that was what the whole Downgraded series was about, showing that you got to make good with what you have.
Absolutely. I think that's a really important message.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a great image right here. Can you tell me a little bit about this, how this all came together?
This was so much fun. It was my first composite, the first major photo manipulation I did. And basically, this is beside my apartment. I took a tripod, I had a timer, and I was running back and forth between the camera, jumping and flipping my hair and flipping my skirt. And there's this guy on the balcony who's talking on his phone, watching me. And I'm thinking, he must think I'm nuts, right?
Well, you're outside in a dress in what appears to be winter, so you're obviously crazy.
Yeah, I think it was about the same time last year, actually, that I was doing this. There was still snow on the ground, or it was a couple of years ago, 2014, yeah. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun, though, and it was my first big photo manipulation, and it actually ended up being one of the most popular pictures that people remember me by is that one.
Now, when you talk about photo manipulation, you do a lot of work on Photoshop, and you have speed edits
Yes.
on your Facebook page, which I think are really neat.
Yes.
You said that some of your 2016 goals include getting a new computer together and making more speed edits and making tutorials to help teach other people how to do stuff in this style. Do you have any other goals for your work for this year, or what's on the near horizon for you?
For my personal work, I think what I want to do is I want to get into multimedia. So I want to incorporate drawings and photographs and start manipulating those together. And I also want to do a film project.
Cool.
I've mostly shot all digital. So what I'd like to do is actually do all of my photographs in film, first shot. So that'll actually be a far more tough project for me because you only get one chance.
Yeah.
And you can't exactly look back and go, okay, yeah, that shot was perfect. So I've got one chance, and then I'm going to convert to digital and photo manipulate, which is going to be a challenge, but a lot of fun.
Well, that sounds really interesting. So I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more of your work. And if people want to follow you, say, on Facebook?
Yeah, they can certainly do so. I do have a Facebook page. If you search Jen Shultz on Facebook or Jen etc. Shultz, you will find my personal Facebook page, or my personal Facebook, actually, and you'll find my links through there, my photography page, my website. So
Okay, great. Well, I look forward to seeing a lot more from you, Jen. Thank you so much for being here today.
thank you.